Hi there, this is the third video in the series going along with the class outlines for your class this summer, your global class for LaRoche College. I'm Jeff Ritter. You may notice I got a haircut, I trimmed my beard. I hope things are looking up. I had a nice trip to Iceland, things like that. And now we get to go on with the third outline. Hope you've been keeping up with everything. I've been reading all your essays and tests and discussion boards and making comments, and things are looking good. Very happy with the progress of the class for most people. Uh, for some folks, just remember, for ESL students, you really got to work on that English. It's got to be up to American style college English, same level for everybody. So work hard on that, and that'll help you out. Uh, for others, so what else? Other comments? Make sure you watch all the videos before you do the essays. Some people may have done the Cold War essays without watching the videos. You may have missed big points in that video. And remember, the biggest point about understanding the Cold War is it's a major cause of the lack of development for big parts of the world. If we talk about the parts of the world that are undeveloped or least developed, these were areas that were manipulated, that were used as pawns, that were uh, uh, dictators were supported, lack of infrastructure being built during the Cold War by either the United States or the Soviet Union. We've both manipulated these countries for our own advantages and our own geopolitical gain, but for the most part did not help those countries develop. And if you think about the same period of time, 1945, 1950 to 1989, 1990, the Cold War, all the development that went on in Japan and Germany to become gigantic economic powers, but smaller countries around the world used by the United States and Soviet Union did not develop. And that's really a shame that we got that way. And in that same period of time, the countries could have grown and learned and thrived and installed infrastructure and built up their economies, but being manipulated by the United States or by the Soviet Union really was not the path for development. So that's why we're stuck today with working on development so frantically around the world. And it is an important thing, and millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and lots of smart people are working on it. You're going to learn more and more about it coming up. All right, so we're getting into the economy. We have to learn about economics. You're lucky. I don't have a gigantic textbook this big for you to learn about economics. Instead, we're going to use the video Commanding Heights, which really gives you a 20th century history, or a history of the economics in the 20th centuries. Very, very valuable information. Lots of different perspectives, lots of primary sources, people who are there, people who've made big decisions and been a part of all the economics. And it's mostly a clash between two big ideas. I'm not going to tell you what those are. You're going to have to get it from the video. But make sure you figure that out. Two big ideas. But you may be watching Commanding Heights and going, what does this have to do with all this stuff I'm talking about? Believe me, trade, economics, development, understanding economics around the world, it'll be very valuable to you. Unless you're going to be living in a cave somewhere or a hermit, you're going to need to understand at least some of this economics. So take it in stride. It's a great video. It's well made. You can watch it in little tiny pieces, and then you do your essays on it, and I'm sure you'll be happy you did. But anyway, the main reason to learn about economics for this class is because you may be asking yourself, why can't we just fix the economy in developing countries? Why can't they and us together, millions of dollars, billions of dollars, United States aid, Britain, Scandinavia, Denmark, all these great countries who know what they're doing, why can't we just put in a good economy? Well, we would if we could. Nobody really knows the answer to how to create or how to make an economy work. We can't do it here ourselves, even with all of our resources and everybody we have and all the money we have. We still don't really know how to make an economy really hum, really take off, or get off the ground without dangers, without inflation, without unemployment. Very difficult thing to address. So you have to learn and understand economics. So I'm looking at the Class 3 Global PDF, so make sure you're looking at that. We're going to go right to the second page, Intro to Economy. What is an economy? It's just simple. What it says there, an organized system of providing for the goods, services, innovation, well-being, and security of a circumscribed area, that means within a specific area. What are the options? What are the perspectives? All those things are going to be a part of what you learn. What are the results? Do we have experiments? Is it economics a science? And what are markets? You're going to have to learn about all of these things to really understand why it's so difficult to solve the problem of economies in developing countries. So you'll get all of this if you look at Commanding Heights with some detail, with some attention. So do look at that carefully. The last line on that second page of the PDF, human behavior, emotion, and unknown. That's really one of the keys to economies. Is it's all about human behavior and decision making. You made a decision today to buy a candy bar, to make your car payment, to use a credit card, to not buy something, to not use your credit card, to save some money, to not save money. Those are all human behaviors. They're based on emotion, based on what do you think is going to happen next? How secure do you feel? Remember what happens in a recession. Nothing happens. It's just people stop buying. Why do people stop buying? They have some money, but they stop buying. They feel insecure about the future. I may not have this money in the future. I want to hang on to it. So lots of people stop buying. Boom, the economy goes into recession and could be depression. It's all based on people's decisions, people's behavior. Don't blame the government. Don't blame Obama. Don't blame Romney. Don't blame taxes. Don't blame all these systems. It's all about people's decision making. Those policies and government taxes and government incentives play a role in people's decision making. There's no doubt about it. But it's all up to the people's decision. And people are very emotional, as it says right there. Emotion comes into your decisions. That's all the stock market is emotions, feelings about the future of a company. Do you feel good or bad? Do you want to buy it or sell it? That's it. And no one knows the answer, whether it's going to really be good or bad or go up or down, and unknown. So economics, those of you who've taken an economics class, my hat's off to you. It's very tough material, very difficult to understand in some ways, but this video should help you understand and help you see. Main point, it's difficult to know how to create a successful economy. And it's going to be different in every country, even in parts of different countries. It's going to be different. By the way, I've read a nice comment from one student who watched the statistics on development video. Make sure you take a look at that within the next week. It's very important, very interesting. It should really change your perspective about developing countries and about economies going on there. So that's going to be your intro to economics. Let me know if you have any questions about it along the way. Next slide, next page in the PDF, Commanding Heights. It's a review of economic debates of the 20th century. Gives you great examples and case studies. And most interesting to me, I like Jeffrey Sachs. He's in there a great deal talking about development, and pay close attention when he talks. You'll see him. He's a young-looking guy. He's not young anymore, but he was when he made the video. And a Harvard professor, very young, full professor at Harvard. And he says it's a great moral question and a great intellectual question. Morally, how do we live with the inequality in the world? It's a moral question. How do we live with that? How do we change it? It's an intellectual question. How do we figure out how to improve development around the world? So pay close attention to Jeffrey Sachs. He's in the video at various places, but that should be your viewing for a good part of the week. It's about 6 hours altogether. So you may skip parts of it. You might want to read the transcript for some instead of watching the video. Feel free to do that. Just make sure you absorb the most important materials from it and figure it out and understand it clearly before you write the essays. Don't go writing the essays and then say, I missed some of the big points. Do it first. Okay, next slide, page 5 of the PDF, Health Communication. We'll also do some reading about health and health communications. Very important field. Using communication media and technology to change health behavior. We see that all the time in the United States, in your communities, UPMC, all the public affairs, public address advertising to get people to change their behavior. Seatbelts, smoking, drug use. Now we're into changing people's behavior about sugar, about drinking sodas, about being more active, doing a little bit of exercise every day, even for kids. Very important. Boy, if we don't do anything, what's going to happen to this country in a few years? If we have a real obesity problem throughout the country, huge costs for health care, changing all kinds of things. Who's going to use the parks if everybody in the country is overweight? We'll get rid of the parks. What's going to happen to gym class? We've gone a little too far in one direction and probably have to pull back and encourage more physical activity because electronics has taken over kids' lives, as I know with my kids. The way we encourage them and we sometimes force them to put these things down. Anyway, health communications used for changing behavior, and the main thing we're interested in is health ICT projects for development, using ICTs to attain health communication goals. It doesn't have to be ICTs. It can be advertising. I saw ads, billboards in Liberia by the side of the road showing a cartoon of somebody washing their hands after using the bathroom. Very common idea. We know it here. We put up signs for health, for food workers, of course, but everybody knows. Whether feel your hands are dirty or not, you should wash your hands after using the bathroom. Uh, and it's our common sense. We grew up with it. We understand germs. But imagine being in a community, being in a small village where people don't know that. They don't really know that. They don't learn science as everyday life. I'm not talking about uh, somebody way out in a primitive society, but I'm talking about a small village. Just don't know it. Things like that are health communication as well, things to change people's behavior. But now we're talking about ICTs, and you'll see in the articles, very interesting progressive projects looking for ways to improve health on a large scale for a lot of people. Okay, using ICTs to attain health communication goals. That's all that says on the next slide. All right, so all you have for this week is some heavy-duty work, finishing the first two chapters, I think, of Commanding Heights. You don't have to watch the whole thing or do the essays yet, but read the two healthcare links, 1 and 2, and then comment on the discussion board. I'd also like you to read or watch the development stats video, and if you haven't watched the ICTs or read the ICTs in Africa paper, you should do that as well. Keep up on all your work. Let me know if you have any questions, and things are going pretty well so far, and let me know if you have any questions. As I said, nice to see you again, and we'll keep moving. All right, bye-bye.